Hello everyone, this is part 2 of the series. I'm building the Nebulon-B Escort Frigate. So this is where we left off last time, kind of built the structure to get an idea of how the size and shape of the ship will look. Now, for part 2, it's time to take everything apart and start from scratch, but starting with specific sections and going more into detail. So, if I look at the front of the ship, I think this section is a little too wide. I don't like that it's 2 studs wide. It'll probably be better if, I guess, the sides of the rooms are only 1 stud wide, 1 stud wide. And now, this is how the Nebulon-B looks. This is the shape basically. That's the back, and in the front, like it has this bottom portion. And my idea is there will be sort of like a plate that can be easily removed so that you can have access to the rooms inside. And of course, the front and back of this will have this, I don't know what you call it, some protruding structures that look weird. I'll try to follow it as best as possible. And I guess you got the idea of that. And in this part of the ship, I plan to have just 3 rooms. One on the bottom, they'll be very small, but should be enough to fit something. But we'll see how it goes. And before we delete this section, so I want to show you. Right now, it's kind of like has a triangular shape. But what I want to do, not only to simplify this, but I think the structure itself might be, I guess, more sturdy. So right now, see, it goes like in an angle. Instead, I actually want that part to be straight. But the angle will only be slightly, the angle will slightly be, it will be visible, but it won't be at an incline. So what I will do instead is I will place like flat tiles and gradually stack them on top of each other, and it gives the impression that the structure is going at an angle. A few hours later, this is what I built so far. I still think it's too wide, which is why I'm going to use these dark gray tiles, put them on the side, and make it, instead of 8 studs wide, it'll only be 6, because the middle portion, I'll put light gray bricks. And yeah, ignore the bricks in the background. It's normal part of the process. So anyway, this is what I was talking about. You see, even though it's 8 studs wide, because I used 2 different colors, it looks like it's only 6 studs wide. When I add a few other bricks, like as I mentioned earlier, this ship has these weird extrusions. And so I'm just stalling because I have no idea what to talk about. I'm just going to fast forward until I actually build stuff. So, the bottom room, it's not really a room, it's just canisters. I put yellow canisters, but actually that's where the stick comes from the plate and holds the actual ship. Now, the middle is where the crate is. It's just a single crate. You can put, I guess, minor parts in it, maybe a few blasters. But above it is the room where you can actually put a minifigure. That's where the bridge will be. So far, I just built a control panel and the seat. And I'm stalling because I ran out of bricks again. So fast forward to like a week later, I finally got the new pieces, and I can actually finish the outside portion of this build. Using the same technique I explained earlier, I just put pieces in random patterns because I had the picture of the Nebulon-B next to me. So I just put different variations until I came up with the result that I like. And I think at the end, it looks pretty good. And it's pretty sturdy. It's not gonna like fall apart. And, let's have a closer look. So below, I left that much space because bottom portion of this structure will hold majority of the weight of the entire ship. Where the pilots sit, I made like an opening so it looks like it's kind of a bridge. And you see these 4 studs that I put in dark gray. So those will actually be the ones that hold the plate, which covers the rooms on both sides. And choosing a few bricks, placing them, I guess, seeing different options. I think this is like the best outcome so far. So it looks something like this. Of course, I'll put other tiles on it. But you know me, yeah, that design didn't really work out. I decided to use completely different bricks. Because probably took me like 10 different tries, but I mean, here it is. Looks pretty good. I mixed different flat tiles and studs, so it gives the, I guess, looks better, has like more details. And you see on the bottom of these plates, I have 2 studs sticking out at the bottom. That's purposely so it's easier for me to use my finger and lift it. This way, I won't like, so the ship doesn't fall while I'm trying to lift this plate. This is how it looks at the end. You can see both sides. I like how the detail came out. And yes, I know right now this does look straight. It does not have an incline, which I was talking about like 5 minutes ago, but maybe once I build the rest of the structure, I could add like more studs to give it that angle. I won't really know for sure if I need to until I build the structure above it. Now, back to this part of the ship. I know, the canisters look very good. I really like the colors. But let's go to the room above. So, okay, one sec. Carefully, you don't want to remove the floor. So, this is the container I found. I think this is like the perfect size. I originally wanted to go with like those regular 2x2 containers, but this one I felt like gives more storage. You can actually fit something inside that's bigger than this one blaster. Now, I also added this, if you can see in the back, the railing. So it's a nice addition. I think it gives more detail to the room. Doesn't look so empty when there's no container. And above it, so that's where, once again, like I said earlier, that's where the pilot sits. Let me just grab a minifigure to show you. This dude is not exactly the pilot, but I'm just demonstrating that even someone with a large helmet like that can still fit inside. Yeah, sorry, buddy. Yeah, someone else is gonna captain this. So now, all these studs I left on purpose. I'm gonna use them to add all those, I guess, they're sort of like containers that are attached to the ship. I don't know, this ship is kind of weird, but it's more like a futuristic Star Wars container ship. And here you can see, second, gotta fix this guy's helmet, it's too damn big. So, with no issues, the minifigure fits inside, and both plates are able to close. Now, let's see if this actually works. So, when I place it, that part is actually going to hold like majority of the weight of the entire ship, which is why, again, I left a lot of room for it. A few days later, this is what I've built so far. I think the grill bricks that I decided to use look best. I guess they match the closest to the actual shape. This is how it looks on the stand. I like it. It looks pretty nice. This is how it looks in reference to the actual name, Nebulon-B, the base plate that I built before. I started adding more of these modules. I think I'm just going to call them containers. It looks like a futuristic Star Wars shipping containers. So you can see they're cramped, and I really don't like there's no space in between. So I actually rebuilt it entirely. Also added these gray sleds on the sides. I think it's a nice addition. But now there's like half a Lego brick distance in between each of those modules. When I move on to the next one, which I chose to have like bluish color, I don't have like actual bricks anymore. I only have these plates. So instead of waiting a week to get new pieces, I just decided to improvise. So the center will be built out of dark gray, and I will just attach those blue plates on the sides. That way the overall module, container, or whatever it is, it still has that bluish color to it. Here I'm just showing how I built it. And so far, it looks fine. I added this, I guess, 4-stud piece, so it actually attaches to the center structure itself. You don't want these modules like accidentally flying off if you accidentally touch them with a finger. So I guess it's more of like a trial and error. Sometimes I do place dark gray bricks in between. You don't necessarily have to follow the exact details of the ship. I mean, I have a picture of the ship, but I'm not always following it 100% because sometimes there's room for, I would say, your own creativity. It might not be 100% exactly like the actual build, but overall, when you put all of these pieces together, it does match the design, the intended design. So here is it, how it looks. And I think my computer just froze. Oh, there we go. We're live. I actually redid the nose. It's hard to record this process because, I might finish something and I'm like, yeah, this looks very good. I go grab a drink of water, come back, and I'm like, nah, this looks really bad. And then I spent another 20 minutes doing it completely different. Not to bore you with the details, but the next module I built, I decided to use this dark red burgundy color. Same one you see in most of these Star Wars Republic builds. Next portion is using these green bricks, which is actually the bridge of the ship. I was surprised to find out about that. But first, you can't really find the bricks you want until you flip the box upside down and just lay it all across the table to make it more difficult to clean up afterwards. But here it is. I mean, I was able to build this relatively quick. I added those clear pieces you can see in front of you. That's where the windows are for the bridge. And yeah, overall I like it. The window matches, sort of like that's where the bridge is, so the pilot can see. In the back, there's not that many pictures showing how the back of it looks, so I mostly improvised. Now let me put on the stand. If I could just get it on there. Yeah, there we go. So I guess this concludes the part 2 of this video. So if you made it all the way to here, thank you for watching. And as always, if you have any suggestions, let me know. Just share your thoughts. What do you think about this? Because the next part, we're going to build the top portion of the Nebulon-B.